Three, two, one. Welcome to the Back Chat with the Back Doctor. This is your host, Dr. Oz, and with me today, I have Dr. Angus.
Howdy.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's great to see you today. And today's topic is all about sleep. Now, at the end of the month, we're going to be having one of our in-house workshops as well, which is all about sleeping better tonight. Well, before we get into the main content, I just really wanted to share a bit of a story, because there's a lot of the time that we see people come in and they always talk about the quality of sleep being affected. And one of the big things that I found was this younger gentleman. He's in his mid-30s. He's got newborn on the way, and he's already got a newborn that's already about a year and a half old now. So he's found that his sleep quality has dropped dramatically. And what's happened now is it's just not impacting his sleep. It's impacting his work. It's impacting his ability to heal, play sports. He's finding that it's just slowed him down in so many other avenues, so many other aspects. So just having him come in, giving him advice, giving him strategies on how he can optimize his sleep, get better quality sleep, he's found that other aspects of his life has been a lot easier.
Sure.
You know, he knows he has to navigate the newborn period where his sleep can be broken, but he's still able to get back into the other things that he loves. So getting into that main content now, Dr. Angus, why is sleep so crucial?
Why is sleep so crucial? It's interesting you say how crucial sleep is. I remember when the Olympics were on just a few weeks ago, there was one commentator saying how probably the biggest factor for improved performance for the athletes was good quality sleep. And unfortunately, in France, some of those athletes weren't getting the good quality sleep that they needed, jet lag and sleeping situations. But they really ranked that as one of the top most important things for performance of any variety. So why is it so important? Two primary areas. Number one is tissue regeneration, tissue healing, true deep healing of the tissues. Now you've got to remember that most of the time we're running around doing our work, doing our jobs, doing this, doing that, and we're not giving our body that downtime to actually rejuvenate and repair at the cellular, molecular level. So that's the first thing that sleep allows us to do, is to knit all those tissues together, repair, replace, and heal.
Okay. And let's talking a bit more about tissue regeneration before we move on to the next aspect. Does tissue have different levels or different stages of repair as well? Like, is there just the initial stage to start to get like laying the foundation, like building a house, for example? Tissue regeneration, does it have like a foundation layer, then the poles, then the concrete, then the roof, then the ceiling? Does like all of that come hand in hand?
Absolutely, yes. Tissue quality is built over time, and I'm talking months to years of laying down and depositing the appropriate fibers. So if it's a ligament, that'll be collagen fibers, all those tough, quite bristly structures to make our joints strong, to make ourselves capable of withstanding the day. And then there's obviously less weight-bearing tissues, or less weight-bearing cells and structures within those tissues.
Yeah.
And those can be regenerated on a more frequent days, weeks kind of time schedule. A lot of the patients that we see here are obviously looking for those structural changes. So that long-term healing over a medium and long-term process is absolutely critical, absolutely vital.
Okay, awesome. And one of the additional benefits we see is better energy. So how does having good quality sleep start to produce better energy?
Well, all our energy is, it's a fantastic question. Who doesn't want more energy? And all our energy is based on our biochemistry working properly. We've got to have the right chemicals in the right place at the right time, then to move about and do what they do to actually manifest and create energy. And for the body to store up and stack up those different chemicals, biochemicals, healthy chemicals, it takes time and takes sleep, takes rest, takes downtime.
Yeah, and one of the things that I can add to this is on the chiropractic side. You know, you've got your nervous system, you've got your sympathetic, and then you've got your parasympathetic nervous system. So, you know, a lot of today modern life is so fast paced. So a lot of people are sympathetically driven. That's like your flight, that's your fight. Let's get moving, let's get going quick, non-stop, stress response, right? Whereas your parasympathetic is your resting, it's your digesting, it's your recovery, regeneration of tissues, it's your healing stage. So when people don't have the right amount of sleep and the good quality sleep, they're not parasympathetically working their body. And your body is still working when it's parasympathetic. It's just working in a different avenue. It's always trying to aim for a nice balance between the two.
It's doing all the housekeeping, cleaning, restructuring, mending, healing.
Yeah. So as we continue to build, you get dust and you want to clean that dust. You want to make sure things are nice and tight. That's a great analogy. You know, you're adding on to the house building analogy. That was really good. And yeah, so finding that when you're well rested, your parasympathetic system works better, and all those chemical processes in the body that you were describing earlier as well, all those changes, they have a better ability to function, more to get done, so that when you wake up, you're more energized.
Sure.
Yeah. So really, really good. And what about, I guess one of the factors that I get asked quite a bit is what can affect my sleep?
Well, goodness. I mean, there's so many different things. There's chemical factors, there's physical factors, there's times of the day and the night factors. There's so many things that really come together to make a good quality night's sleep. And let's face it, many of those things are missing some of the time. But to be able to get the best quality sleep that we can, we need to know what those ingredients are, what those factors are. So the more that we can influence those for the better, then the average level of our sleep goes all the way up.
I've got one factor.
What's that?
Literally last night, just watching my brother's game.
Right.
Right. He was competing and they were supposed to go for 6 matches. So for those of you that don't know, my brother's an esports gamer. He's competing around the world, and it's a whole new generation that on its own. But because there's such a time difference, there I am awake, hoping that things will finish around 1 to 2 a.m.
Right.
But they went overtime and they went to about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Ouch.
So here I am saying, I've got to sleep and get up early in the morning. So that's like one factor right there that's just got affected.
Yeah. And to be honest, I feel that the biggest single influencing factor for quality sleep, and for people who've broken that good quality sleep or don't have good quality sleep, is that timing factor. It is getting into that habituated cycle and rhythm. After all, our bodies are designed to be in sync with the sun, with the seasons, with cycles of the year.
Yeah.
We are designed to go to sleep when it gets dark. We get more rest in the winter. We get less sleep in the summer, and there's more light. And I've always really appreciated knowing the fact that there are golden hours, that when we get those golden hours of sleep, then we can pretty much rest assured that we'll be able to function the next day. Do you know when those golden hours might be?
I would say like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then, or maybe earlier than that, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, waking up and going to bed around 9 p.m., 10 p.m.
Well, it's true that most people do need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. There is a small amount of variation there, but biologically we're all very similar. So 7 or 8 hours is what we need. But the golden hours when we really get the best quality sleep are between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so that 4 hours that surrounds midnight is the time when you can really get the best quality, most restorative sleep. So it's super important to make sure that our sleep cycles and rhythms and habits around the day fit in with a 10 to 11 o'clock finish, lights out.
Yeah, one of the type of people that we get to see here and help, shift workers, people that have different times, you know, and they find that sleeping becomes quite a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
So what are some ways for them to create a better routine in their life so that they're able to, because they can't really control like when they get to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But what are some ways that they can take control, take some action so they can get better sleep?
Well, first of all, you've got to acknowledge that shift working, when you are working through the night and you've got to try and catch up on a bit of sleep through the day, is a heavily compromised situation. You'll never get as good quality sleep through the day as you do through the night, because you're chopping and changing between day sleeping and night sleeping, the night sleeping and day sleeping, and your body can't get into that rhythm and cycle. And it does take, on average, 2, sometimes 3 weeks for somebody to properly sink, like getting over jet lag, sink into a new time when they go to sleep. Easiest way to do that, to get resynced, is to use an eye mask. So really block out the light during the day and do your best to convince your body that it is nighttime. Obviously making the most calming, quiet environment possible. And yeah, just sticking the best to a routine, even if it's a sleep routine through the day.
I find that the earplugs work well because in the daytime, people wake up and go about their day. So the more noise cancelling you have, the better. Eye mask is really good, blocking out the room lights. And I also found that some of the research saying for night shift workers as well is developing a routine. So your body can adapt to stress to a certain level. So if you're able to get to work and have a communication and just say, look, you know what, I'm happy to do night shift, but if you can just put me on the same day, you know, you just put me on a Friday or you put me on a Wednesday. And if you keep that habit consistently, your body will be, okay, every Wednesday is night shift day. So your body will be able to get used to sleeping, habituate that. And whereas your other days will be normal days. So your body's very smart, it's very intelligent, and it can adapt to that level as long as it's consistent. But when you have night shift, that's one day you're here, one day you're here, it's very difficult for your body to adapt to that level of stress because it's always changing.
Absolutely. And I think it is important to, rather than just snatching 2 or 3 hours, which, yes, it might get you through the day, you might feel okay on that, but really to try and get that full night's sleep through the day, put in the 6 hours, the 7 hours, the 8 hours if you can manage it, so that you are fully restoring the body. One thing that I learned really quite recently, because science has only just discovered this, is that the lymphatic system of the brain actually does a full flush out through the night when you are asleep. And literally just there's a flow of lymph through all the blood vessels of the brain, clearing out all the old metabolites and allowing fresh blood metabolites through. And apparently that cycle on average takes about 8.25 hours for somebody. And they've now been able to visualize that actual, just like a tide, just like the sea, the ocean, all that bad lymph flowing out. And when you wake up, obviously that process is completely halted.
Amazing.
So as much as people can often be proud with the fact that they only need 5 hours sleep a night, sure, maybe in the short term they're getting away with that and they can function, but they're not actually clearing out the metabolites and the toxins from the brain cells, the neurons and the glue cells that hold the brain together sufficiently to avoid building up of those chemicals and plaque formation, which then eventually leads to many types of mental health conditions, and Parkinson's and
one of the biggest reasons why people are dying now, dementia.
Dementia,
right?
yes.
And funny enough, like poor sleep, lack of sleep, along with a lot of other factors, is attributed to dementia as well. Right?
There you go.
So
I dare say with that full 8.25 hours sleep, then those people would have reduced their chances massively of contracting those kind of conditions and diseases.
Yeah, that is massive.
This has only been found out last year or two. Yeah.
So who knows where they're going to take this next? But you can definitely tell they're going to say, get good quality sleep, prioritize good quality sleep.
Yeah.
Prioritize good quality sleep.
Yeah.
And shifting away from like the shift workers now, let's talk about people that have a routine.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll also talk a bit about like kids as well, children as well. So what are some good habits to develop in just the day-to-day in the household to create good quality sleep?
Comes back to the same thing, routine. Even one night staying up late for an hour or 2 or 3 or more can really throw things out. It means that then you're trying to catch up the next day. So developing a routine and a habit within the house, what time the kids get to sleep, what time the adults get to sleep. And just because it's the weekend or there's a movie to finish, not stretching it out and breaking down and tearing down that routine, but keeping it preserved as a vital part of your health regime, sleep.
How about with the kids, right? Are you finding that the kids want to stay up later and later these days? Like, how's navigating all that?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kids. I'm sure you wanted to do that. I know I did.
Yep.
I remember watching TV and trying to disappear into the corner of the sofa so that my parents didn't remember that I was there. How many minutes or hours can I stay up later than I should? But again, that's just, in hindsight, I realized that's breaking that sleep habit, that routine. And yeah, we have to be tough. It's called tough love, cruel to be kind.
Yes.
Okay, that's what parenting is about a lot of the time, is making those hard decisions when a weaker, younger mind doesn't want to or can't make those decisions. So it all comes down to what the adults do, which is parenting's about at the end of the day.
Sometimes our discussions always fall back to, the families, being a parent, working with kids. And you find that, leading by example is really such a universally good example of how to raise kids, look after kids, because they grow up watching, they grow up by watching and learning. Copying, right? Yep. So, if parents are staying up super, super late, the child will always wonder why. Why can't I stay up late?
That's right.
So if you lead by example, if you sleep a bit earlier, set the time frame, set the expectations, kids are more likely to follow instructions.
Absolutely. And there's always times to make exceptions, although nature would disagree. But it very easily or often becomes the fact that, all right, so it's Friday night, let's stay up a bit later, or it's Saturday night, let's stay up later, or going out on Sunday night, let's stay up a bit later, and then midweek movie night, let's finish that movie off, so that's staying up late. And very quickly you can find that you're having less nights of optimum length sleep than you are actually appropriate lengths of sleep.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep those standards, but that's what it's about.
And now with screens and technology, right, I can definitely say that people are trying to sneak in with their TVs, their mobile phones, into the bedroom, and stare at a light screen before they get to bed. Can you open up on that topic a bit, Nick?
Oh my goodness!
This is gonna trigger some people listening to this.
Yeah, probably. Let's face it, as adults, we've all got addictions. Kids get introduced to addictions even sooner and younger these days, it seems. And one of the biggest addictions is screens. And they're incredibly, incredibly addictive. I know my kids are fairly locked down on when they can use screens. And but even then, I noticed that when it's bedtime, they'll find any screen, even the flipping digital alarm clock. They'll be playing with the alarm clock for hours, looking at a screen and making beeping noises just to, avoid sleeping. Or there'll be the little radio that they have, creative ways to get in front of the screen when it should be lights out. So, so again, it's all about just structuring life and giving your body the chance to do what it wants to do and need to do, which is to replenish and to heal.
One thing I'll add to that is coming from a sleep seminar, waking up in the morning, the first thing you should expose your eyes to is natural sunlight.
Right.
Because what happens is when you look at a screen, you get a dopamine hit, and it excites your brain. So you produce a certain amount of dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
And dopamine is like your happy hormone, right? Your excitement hormone.
Mm.
So people that usually stare at their phones first thing in the morning don't reach a higher level of dopamine throughout the day. So they pretty much reach their peak. So the rest of the day is going to be flatter, less excitement, less energy, less focus. Whereas people that just wake up, first thing they do is go get natural sunlight, avoid looking at screens for that first half an hour to hour, letting the body regulate to waking up helps quite significantly. Coffee is another thing as well. So in the morning, if you can delay having coffee for a longer period of time, your body is able to regulate its hormones a lot better.
Gotcha.
Now, I've spoken to this with many people, and I say, hey, how about you wait half an hour before you have your coffee? I've gotten stares deep into my soul saying, what are you trying to do?
I'm sure. Big reluctance or resistance.
100%.
Yeah, there's another addiction that a lot of us have to control.
And, talking a bit more about, caffeine, like the chemicals that you can ingest, that has a factor and that has an impact on, sleep. How much you stay awake, how much you stay energized. So why don't we just get into the main topic? Like, what are some things that we can actually stop ingesting, stop taking for better quality sleep?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. Obviously, the two big ones are alcohol and coffee. Coffee does wake us up, it does stimulate us, and coffee has a much longer lifespan within our body than most people realize. Most people realize that just because they're not actually shaking and buzzing, they tend to think that, coffee's left the system, it's been digested and gone. But that's not true. It's only in the very top 25% of being stimulated that you get all that buzziness, and you still then got many, 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 many hours of breaking down those caffeine molecules in your body to get to a restful state where you can fall to sleep easily. So probably the second biggest factor after routine in sleep is regulating coffee consumption. Certainly no coffee after midday.
Yeah, that's what we call the afternoon crash, as people call it, where they have plenty of coffee in the morning and all of a sudden, boom, more than 5-6 hours later, I'm flat as.
That's it. And the other big one is alcohol. A lot of people do use alcohol or feel sleepy with alcohol, and therefore they either consciously or unconsciously choose to have some towards the end of the day to help with going to sleep. But what many people don't realize is that the metabolites, the breakdown chemicals from alcohol, they're actually stimulants. They're excitatory. So that's why very often you can have alcohol. It makes you feel sleepy, you go to sleep, and then just a couple of hours later you wake up going, why can't I get back to sleep? I thought I'd had a skinful.
Big, yeah. A lot of people don't realize that alcohol starts as a depressant and ends up as an excitement.
Exactly.
Right. That's why if you have, many late nights out, drinking tons and tons, and then you're waking up 2 or 3 hours later saying, what the hell just happened? Why am I not sleeping? It's because of those excitement hormones just going up to the next level.
Yep. So those are two big things. Obviously, regulating meal sizes as well, not having a massive meal that your body's then got to expend huge amounts of energy and resources upon to break down and digest is a good thing to avoid as well.
Yes. So I think that pretty much starts to wrap up everything. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Sleep. Well, I think one area that's often overlooked is our nighttime furniture, our beds, our pillows. I think obviously taking stock of what we sleep on is a smart thing to do. Making sure that we've got a mattress that suits our body type. There is no one-stop shop for mattresses, unfortunately.
Yep.
It is a very personal thing. There are some key principles, such as not having a saggy, soggy mattress. We need something that is firm, but has a soft top layer to allow the shoulders and the hips to sink in and be accepted by. But then one thing that I would say is an absolute essential for every human being is a contoured pillow. Something that's going to hold the neck and the head in line with the torso while we sleep, rather than leaving us after 10 minutes of a nice plump pillow flopped into a soggy pillow.
Makes a massive difference.
It
Makes
does.
a massive difference. One thing, like, just talking price ranges for mattresses, I find that anything between about the 2,000 to 3,000 is decent, mattresses that last you quite a while. I usually recommend 5 years you change your mattress, because it does wear out, the springs wear out, and every 2 to 3 years you swap it. So flip it over so the springs don't wear out straight away.
Yeah.
So people forget they can do that.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of culprit, completely forgot you can flip the mattress and still get good use out of it.
Yes.
So those are really, really good price ranges. I don't think you need to get the most state-of-the-art mattress, but I don't think you should also cheap out, because your sleep is so essential.
It is. And take advantage of sleeping out at a hotel or an Airbnb or wherever you happen to be, and figure out whether your spine, your body enjoys a softer mattress, a firmer mattress, or this mattress, or that mattress, and just see what you can learn about what your spine likes for the next time that you're in the market for a mattress. And thankfully, contoured pillows are a fraction of that price. For just over $100, you can get an absolutely top grade pillow. It's going to support you. I'd say that's one of the biggest bang per buck that you can get in regards to normalizing your sleep position quality.
It's such a small, quick, and efficient change that can impact your sleep.
Set and forget.
Yeah.
How easy does it get? Yeah.
And I guess the last thing that we can mention is how you can also, what other things you can do to help benefit your sleep. And one aspect that I briefly touched on earlier on this podcast was your nervous system. Right? You got your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. And chiropractic, what we do here, chiropractic adjustments, really help decrease stress in your body. They help engage your parasympathetic nervous system. So if you are getting adjusted, excellent. When you feel like your sleep is going to be broken, get adjusted. But if you are not getting adjusted and you've tried all these other things to improve your sleep, it's worth giving chiropractic a try. Having a look at the chiropractic, getting adjusted, and seeing how the change in your nervous system as a result can impact your sleep.
Absolutely. And that just brings home the point that having an altered sleep cycle, let's say you are working shift work at night, that is a big biological stress on your body. You're not designed for that, not meant to have sleep during the day. So it is a big stress on the body. And as we know, stress is what causes subluxation. Subluxation is what leads to ill health and deteriorating health.
That's it.
So if you are shift working, just make sure that you get adjusted regularly to help your body deal with, mitigate those stresses of being on an altered time schedule. And also realize that sleep is a learnt behavior. It is a learnt habit that the body has to get to grips with, which is why young babies very often haven't gotten into a routine, or their sleep cycle is broken very, very easily. And be respectful of the fact that it is a skill, a bit like playing the guitar. So, if you abuse those skills, or you don't practice them, you bend and warp those skills and get into bad habits, then you can expect your sleep quality to be just as deteriorated as well.
Love it, Dr. Angus. Thank you so much for coming on this episode.
My pleasure.
Have
See
a great
you next
day.
time.
See you next time. Bye, guys.